first question is, why dialogue? Well, interreligious dialogue is meant to give us a reason to learn about perfecting our own religious search for meaning, for God. By finding out, first of all, by finding out how others do that. Others travel that path. As a result of interreligious dialogue, our religious identity is, in fact, affirmed, expanded, not diffused, deepened through genuine comparative encounters. Just as selfhood is expanded by learning from others and about others, dialogue between religious others is firstly the essential condition of religion itself. We learn our initial religious identity through conversation, and subsequent conversations shape that identity. So we learn in relation to others. No problem there, right? If there were no others, there would be no us. I am comprised as an individual and as a member of religious tradition by way of my interactions with other individuals and other members of different religious traditions. So I learn about myself mainly because of others. There will be no awareness and understanding of the self without the other. Now the quality of my understanding of the self depends on how I choose to see the other. Right? I could see the other in envious and comparative terms. I could see the other in complementary terms. I could keep a distance from the other and learn only the superficial aspects. This would perhaps be enough, perhaps, to tolerate the other. But it also makes me susceptible to develop and maintain false, made up, imagined view of this other. Tolerance alone is not enough. Because I lack substantive and accurate information about the other, I would be forced to think of this person in any fashion I wanted, depending on my circumstances. If the other is not clearly known or is ambiguously known, then it becomes easier for me to conceive the other just as I wish. There is no one to contradict my conception because of that distance, because of that arrogance. The ideology of the other usually divides human beings in them and us, where them seem quite different from us. And this is a false dichotomy. Even though Islam acknowledges differences among peoples, it gives a most positive spin on it by calling it a mercy from God. In other words, differences and diversity are seen as a blessing rather than as a problem. The Quran states that God constituted human beings into communities and nations so as to enable them to recognize one another and in fact learn from one another. Diversity is a divinely instituted law of human society which no one can alter. In many places, and I will give you one instance where the Quran declares, had your Lord willed, he could have made humankind one single community. Therefore, the differences we find the differences that we find are there so that each human being will see us in them and them in us, so to speak. In a sense, diversity is humanity's best measure of itself.